Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am so excited as always. A heartfelt acknowledgement to the WLC team for putting together such amazing opportunities for speakers and listeners to connect and advance. So, thank you, everyone. Again, I love being a part of this amazing community. There's so many aspects to talk to about fear. And I really wanted to address this idea of what fear has become to so many of us, and especially the global community. Of course, we have all just shared a common experience in the world where health, mental health, emotional health, physical health, and of course, spiritual health has been disrupted. And the coping mechanisms that either were in place or not in place have really been at the forefront of what has come across my feed of social media, of my clientele, of a topic of conversation for people that want to really understand why we conform so readily to fear. And I really have thought about this a lot in my life, even before the science of empowerment was written, even before I went into the practice of empowerment, coaching. And we are so wired in, and many of us know this already from, back in the caveman days, there was a reason why fear served such an important um, and fundamental aspect of our human experience. We had to run literally for our lives in order to stay alive, face another day, and evolve from that experience. Now we do not have that same reasoning for fear. However, it is locked in to the DNA. It is locked into the mindset. It almost becomes just a natural acceptance that I am to be in some state of fearful thinking, fearful patterning, and absolutely fearful behavior. And then from there, we really move out into this environment of self doubt, lack of confidence, stagnation. And I have found that so many people, including myself in my life, we don't move into our full potential because we absolutely stay connected to fear. Our boundaries, the structure of how we think, the way we respond and interact, all is based from fear. We really don't want to move on. We find, again, this conformity and almost a comfort in the pattern of fear. Now, I'm not talking about if we are in an environment and someone threatens us, right? We could be mugged, we could physically get hurt. We see so much right now out in the world of abuses against one another that really do exacerbate this base level of fear. So if we, go out into the world, is someone going to steal my car? Is someone going to threaten me with a gun? Am I going to unfortunately get sick and pass? Many of us have people that have passed from circumstances that have been out of their control and out of our control, but we're wondering, is this going to happen to me? So we're always in this mindset, in this place of, even if you get a cold, oh my God, is that going into walking pneumonia, bronchitis? Am I going to get the flu or COVID? Do I get the vaccination? Do I not? All of these things contribute to fear. And the brain is wired to take that perception of messaging of fear and really saturate our very essence with it. And I want to express to everyone that we have this amazing innate ability to recalibrate the word, the sensation, the meaning, and the purpose of what fear can represent to us. So, for instance, if we know that we are in a state of fear over our health. Now, not everyone can recorrect illness at the snap of a finger. Sometimes we need doctors, we need medical intervention, we need outside modalities, and it could be stress related things that are happening that can create ill health on a consistent level. But we also know that we personally can be accountable to bettering our health, eating differently, meditating, being out in nature, creating purposeful and loving friendships. All of these things begin to heal the biology and the connection between the mind and the body. As we advance and move towards self care, and we are considerate to how we fundamentally can dissolve fear, disrupt the pattern that again has been in the DNA for eons because of where we once came from, we can alleviate fear on our own. So if it means eating better, exercising more, drinking more water, getting a better night's sleep. They may seem like very small steps, but as you bring this behavior into your life, your idea of fear starts to lower because you aren't so afraid anymore. So, for someone like me who really works at taking exceptional care of my health, because of those reasons, I don't want to be fearful. Am I going to get a heart attack? Am I going to struggle with obesity? Am I going to get diabetes? Or something like a pandemic comes into our global environment. Am I strong enough to combat it with or without a vaccine? And again, that's such a personal choice. But look already at what I can do. I can recalibrate that conformity. I don't have to move into that mass messaging and take on the energetic aspect of fear of my health because I have a sense of real time mastery over it. And this is not about the delusion of control. We all have to be sensible and really create and respect practices that keep ourselves safe and others. But on a very personal, accountable level, we can begin to use what we've all been through to understand how we can get caught up in that current of fear very quickly, watching the local news, just talking to family members or friends if we disagree on something about the self-care aspect of, say, a pandemic, getting vaccinated, not getting vaccinated. But when we are able, with authentic conviction, speak to others in the world and in our close circles that I eat really well, I exercise daily, I have a practice of meditation or listening to music that is calming to my soul, when I read books, attend lectures, when I discuss the potential and the advancement capabilities that are actually coded in my own DNA, I'm not as fearful as the average person because I have taken the time to educate myself in what I know I can do for my well being. Now, if we move aside from, let's say, the health aspect, right? So, again, we're going to reiterate health is upon us. We are in control of how we take care of ourselves. This will begin to alleviate our health concerns and the fears we have around our own wellness. You are in the power seat of alleviating or checking that off your list. When you take exceptional care of your well being, the fear around becoming unhealthy diminishes greatly. Now, that does not mean some unforeseen illness won't come into our experience. And that will be what that's going to be. I'm talking about not allowing fear to seed into the mind, which then travels into the biology. And then we have this experience of something less than our highest and best connected to wellness. So I want you to keep this with you today. I want you to know that when you get a cold or a sore throat, or you get something even more challenging on a health related issue, you now know that in any given moment, you can begin, right? We can drink bone broth. We can make homemade soups. We can go on a plant based diet. We can take natural modalities. We can take echinacea, astragalus. We can take elderberry, zinc, vitamins, supplements. We can get out in the morning sun and afternoon meditation. Now you start to realize that, wait a minute, why was I so fearful? I actually do have command of how I can stay healthier so that if and when a challenge arises in that particular experience of the environment, the challenge of less than healthy being, I now have the skills and the tools to recalibrate the thought of fear around my health. Now, hopefully you have that and you understand that. And I really wanted to focus on that for a minute because so many of us are going through health related fear experiences because the magnification of the pandemic has really shined the light on how unhealthy many of us truly are. And this is a wake up call that, again, we are in the power seat of our own wellness, mind, body, consciousness. And when we do not feel that we are in a position at our highest and best, the energetic construct of fear can find its way in us. It burrows in us very quickly. It starts with the perception of fear, what the word alone means and sounds like to each and every one of us. What does the pattern of fear look like to us, and what does it become? And then the behavior based on the original thought of fear. And this is what happens. So I want to give you inspiration. I want to motivate you. And I really want to empower you to understand fundamentally that the fear connected to our wellness is a thought. And when you take care of your mind, body, and consciousness, fear will have less ammunition to invade our environment of wellness. And I really hope that that resonates with you. And if you are right now not feeling well, or you are struggling with an illness, I want you to look at how fear has partnered with that illness. And I want you to begin, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, to start to understand that you can recalibrate that experience in real time of that illness right now. So you get up and you have some lemon water, or you make some tea and honey, or if you can't yourself, ask someone to please go to the store and get you some homemade chicken soup. Take a beautiful warm shower, put some soft music on, read some empowering information, listen to an incredible talk that will infuse your biology with positivity and wellness. That is one step towards defeating fear where your health is concerned. Now you can see how we absolutely can take this foundation of recalibrating towards the conformity of fear, and we can have mastery over it in every other aspect of our life. So I have a client that I am helping move through something, and this is very difficult. And this is why I chose this topic today, because we really had a breakthrough within 3 sessions, which was quite amazing. This person is going through the beginnings of a separation. and it is based on alcoholism within the family and how they really need to separate themselves. You can only imagine how fear has taken center stage on this experience for this human being. Everything from I will be alone, I will be left with no money, I am losing the dream and the projection and really the ego based foundation of being in a partnership, what that looks like, not only to this person, but to the outside world. Fear absolutely overtook this gentleman. And everything that he could think of, every which way that we tried to travel a pathway away from fear, the fear just dug in even deeper. So we started to apply the J3 equals E. And for those of you that are new to this speaking engagement here with me, I, of course, am the author of The Science of Empowerment. Please visit the website. There is a copious amount of inspiration, motivation, and empowerment within that website alone. There are blogs, there are podcasts, some of them well connected to this amazing event that we are sharing today. And I want to remind you that everything in you is in this book. Please get this book. It will transform the way you think and the way you move forward. And I promise you, it will be a fundamental education in your advancement and your wellness. So go to www.thescienceofempowerment.com. Purchase this book for my international readership. There is a download available, and every reader gets a free 30-minute life empowerment coaching session with me when you purchase the download or the actual book in the United States. And I want to infuse that in here because I don't want you just to listen and then go about your day. I want you to know that I am here for you to move through whatever challenges you have, because the beauty of the formula that is written within the science of empowerment absolutely will dissolve fear and the conformity to fear. Now, I am not saying it will be at the snap of a finger. This is not a magic pill. There is no such thing in life, right? We are here to be in these physical forms, to raise our consciousness, to learn what it is to move through conformity, and absolutely to move through the challenge of what fear becomes to us, because it is at the base of everything. It erodes our confidence. It disrupts our ability to evolve and advance at work, right? Both personal and professionally. And it makes it a very challenging experience to reach our highest and best self. So when I was talking to my client about how fear has settled in to the experience of this challenge of separation, of alcoholism, and how to actually save himself and his partner and the extension of what their life has become, family, friends, their work environment, just everything. You know, when he went down this path of what holidays would be without his partner, you can imagine. So we started to apply the principles which are contained within the formula. And we started to run through the 5 principles and how to look at each one of them and apply it to the experience of real time fear, because that's what he was up against. Everything was, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared of going in this direction and I'm scared of going in that direction, but I am absolutely fearful of staying where I am. So, with that in mind, I wanted to use this as an example of when we are in a state of fear and we have connected into that state. I want you to remember it is just a thought connected to a word, and that word has become a belief. And that belief has become a pattern. And then that pattern has become a behavior. It is written nowhere in this universe that fear has to stay in place. Nowhere. No matter what your religion, no matter what your spiritual path, no matter what you believe in, I am here to remind you that fear is a word. And there is a lot around that word that we personally take into our being, and then we apply the behavior to how we've perceived that word to fit into our experiences. So let me give you an example. If I were to take a child now and I were to raise that child with an understanding that fear actually means forever, empowered, and resourceful, how do you think that child would respond, interact, and take in the word of fear? No longer would they be afraid, fearful of the word or what it means to the mass population, because they would be that person, that representation of, I grew up in my home knowing that that was not what fear was about at all. Fear is a reminder that I am forever empowered and I am resourceful. So they would never take on fear the way you and I have, because now their mind has been wired to that word differently. They understand that fear is just a challenge, it is just a test for us to rise to the occasion of becoming our highest and best self. Again, I always like to reiterate this. This does not mean every single situation, challenging as they will be, that we can recalibrate in 30 seconds, completely dissolve all negativity, heartbreak, and real brought down to our knees pain, and just go about as if it never happened. In the context of when we have these lectures and talks and when we engage in empowerment coaching, we're talking about how we can learn mastery and self accountability and how we can really move into the arena of awareness so that when these challenges arise, wellness, healthy lifestyle, actual fear, because we do become so scared of how am I going to manage without this person? Or for so many of us, we've lost our jobs. This pandemic has separated so many things for us that the coping skills and the mindset needed to be able to really recorrect what we've been through is just not in place. So when I express this knowledge and this inspiration and the beginnings of what could be a new education and a new foundation for you, I absolutely am not disrespecting that every person and every scenario is unique. But this actual reading and the science behind empowerment and the understanding of what it is to recalibrate into conformity, you absolutely can and will master through the reading of this book. You will no longer look at fear in the same way. It will show up. It may bust down that door, but you will be prepared differently than you've ever been. So I want you to really take that with you today. If there is something, even right now, that you're fearful of, should I stay in this position? Should I leave? And then all of that in between. Do I stay in this marriage or this partnership? Do I leave? Do I venture out on my own as an entrepreneur? Or do I remain in the safety of the 401k and the health insurance, but my actual soul is dying in this particular work environment. All of what we all know, we all go through some aspects of the human condition. So even if we are talking to one another and I don't know what it is, let's say, to have been very ill, but my heart and my soul understands through compassion of what illness could look like for me personally, or I've been through it maybe once or twice removed. So we all can come together when we know what fear is. There's a blanket energetic expression of it, and there certainly is a very common sense of when it's in the air. For you, the beauty of empowerment and mastery and opposition of conformity is to now know that whether it's on the front page of a newspaper, it's being fed to us through our media, our neighbor and I have gotten to a discussion and it was heated over political leadership, over, again, your fence is 6 inches on my property. It doesn't matter. The fear will set in. Oh my God, I'm not going to get along with my neighbor. We have to call the police. Oh my God, my husband wants the vaccination. I don't want to vaccinate our kid, right? We can all run down this plethora of experiences and challenges, but fear and the conformity does not have to be one of them. You can observe what fear is presenting itself as, but you do not have to partner with it. You don't have to link into it. You certainly don't have to welcome it in. You can look at it, recognize it, become aware. Oh, there it is. There's fear. And remember, forever empowered and resourceful. What does that mean? That begins to connect you to the formula. What am I aware of? How is fear representing itself? And the conformity to it. Well, if I allow myself to be aware of it, but I do nothing about it, I will then move into the current and I will just be brought down the river along with everyone else on the ride of fear. So now we want to go into the second principle, right? So we're aware that fear is showing up. Now we're going to go into what am I willing to do so that I don't move into that patterned behavior of conformity where fear is present. Now you're going to say, I'm willing to read the science of empowerment. I am willing to apply the J3 = E formula. I am willing to be an empowered human being and not conform to the mass message and the mass flow. Your third principle, oh, I love this one, accountability. Here we are. I'm accountable to my wellness of mind, body, and consciousness. My well-being is my business. I can command, design, and engineer my wellness any way I want because I am accountable to how this is going to look. How exciting. You get to become the architect of how you think about fear and how you will or will not conform to what it has become to mean to the masses. You now will become an outliner, an engineer of redesign of that word and how it fits in to your personal life. Now we move into the fourth principle, critical thinking. And this is an amazing, empowering, purposeful principle. We remove the distortion of how we perceive fear. We no longer put emotionality to it. We no longer leave the boundaries or the structure of what the word once meant. We're going to blow the gates wide open and we are going to critically think with an intellectual understanding, with a mindset that is now powerful and on course, where fear is now being wired into the matrix of the mind, therefore how it moves through our biology and affects the overall perception of what fear once meant to us. Now we go into the fifth principle, energy. And energy is in everything. If we think about the word fear, what do we have? We have fear. Fear has been taught to look, sound, and be experienced in a very specific way. So today, here I am letting you know, reminding you that you know that does not have to be what fear means to you. Who says fear has to be fearful anymore, right? No longer. Fear means forever empowered and resourceful. You are not a fearful person from this moment on. You have the education of this time together to level up that once connected thought of fear. You now are on the next tier. Fear's gone. Now, again, if there is something happening in your life that you need to be in a state of fear to protect yourself or someone you love, that's a whole different story, right? That's where the correct version of fear. So, we're somewhere and, like our children, there's mass shootings at our school. So, of course, you want your child to understand this is the time and the place to understand fear is presenting itself. Here is your skill set of how to deal with that situation, right? So, we're all good with that. This is about not allowing fear and a conformity to settle in the mind, because what we think about moves through the current, the very essence of ourselves, and the very connection to our wellness of spirituality, of consciousness elevation. It's all connected. And even if there's someone out there listening that doesn't necessarily believe, let's say, in consciousness or in certain spiritual pathways or religious pathways, then let's just look at it as a pure sense of mind, brain matrix, certainly having causation on biology. So if we think clean, if we think clarity, if we think wellness, our messaging system, right, our internal navigation system is moving through the cells, letting our cells know we are in control of our wellness. So no matter which way you look at it, the science of empowerment will absolutely advance the way you think about thought, the way you think about fear, and how you can really elevate yourself with new education, new information, new patterns, new behaviors, just by recalibrating the thought itself. So when we go into the fifth principle of energy, here is where the foundation and the beauty of this principle, the alchemy of the five principles and the three fields of energy, will equal your empowerment. So we have negative and positive quantum fields of energy, right? That is what moves the universe, what we know as the universe, and all of what is still left to discover. I put in neutrality. So neutral, negative, positive, neutral. Which energy are you? So when you hit that fifth principle after your awareness, willingness, accountability, critical thinking, you move into the power seat of knowing that I will choose which energy field to be in. So when fear comes into your environment, let's say you really have not learned the mastery yet of the J3 equals E. You haven't finished reading the science of empowerment. You haven't taken on new behaviors and patterns that quite allow you to move into a positive state. The fear is still pretty anchored inside of you. This is where you begin energetically to start to pull up on that anchor, move into the realm of neutrality. Choose neutral. Neutral gives you this resting place so that you get to catch a few breaths of recalibration. I used to be so quick to move on that fear that I froze. I became stagnant. I didn't have skills, tools, education, new knowledge, but now I do. And all of those modalities level up your ability to lessen fear. It no longer anchors you because you understand that you now are equipped again with an internal navigation system. How I look at thought, what does that mean to me? And then you go into your principles, right? You get aware of fear used to just freeze everything in my life. Now, no longer. It's less. It's still there, but it's less. And now what do? You build on that neutrality. You start to think, wait a minute, I no longer want to be pulled back by fear. I actually want to be advanced by it because forever empowered and resourceful. Fear used to anchor me to lack of confidence, self-doubt, absolutely no ability to even feel I was capable of moving out of fear. Now you're just like, it's gone. And if it isn't gone, it's over there or it's over there. It is no longer standing in front of you. It is not the solid construct of cement of fear. You can now climb it. You can go to the right, the left, heck, dig a tunnel and go underneath it and come out the other side. Stay way back, get a running move, jump over the darn thing of fear. You have this ability now. You are educating yourself. You are beginning to master the recalibration of fear itself. It is a thought. This is about you understanding that is all it is. You can now choose to think differently about what fear means. So when you hear the masses talking and really being brought down to a level of fear, that's all it is, right? Because when we can design fear in others, we can control others. We are not here to control anyone. We are here to become this beautiful, powerful version of our highest and best self. So when we are really in that authentic state of knowing what opposition of fear means, everything is ready for exploration. We absolutely are then equipped with skills and tools and a mindset to travel and journey this new pathway that no longer will allow fear to enter in. It now becomes like, when you're driving on a highway and you're cruising and it's all open and the wind is blowing and you feel the movement of the trees or the buildings or whatever it may be, it's moving by you. And then you stop when something of beauty and of purpose and of power catches the very essence of who you are. That's when you stop in your neutral space and you observe that beauty. You no longer allow fear to stop you in your tracks. You no longer allow someone to create what fear is going to mean to you. So I want you now, the next time you read an article in a newspaper or you listen to maybe the media or someone around you, and it even could be in a beautiful environment. It could be in a book club or it could be in a mastermind group. You will start to recognize when someone is really seated in fear and the ego is taking over or the noise is taking over because it's become their coping mechanism. You will pick up on it and you will be able to offer the science of empowerment, the formula that will change how they are perceiving fear. And you will become this empowered individual and you will be in service of empowering others because fear is truly one of, for me personally, and the people that I associate with, and we're really working on changing what fear represents to the global family. It really has become a driving force for the powers that are in position, and those powers do not have our best interest. We have to have our best interest first. Awareness and accountability to our best interest. What are we willing to do to cultivate our highest and best self? And how do we get out of the emotionality of conformity that is connected to fear? We choose neutral to positive energy. And we understand that the definition of fear is someone else's. It no longer is ours. We are now engineering a new definition as visionaries of what fear will mean to us going forward. Forever empowered and resourceful. You take that with you today. Please take that with you today. And I want you to be aware of anything that's going on in your day-to-day movement. When you start to feel that little nudge of less confident, more self-doubt, scared of something, the way it looks, sounds, the way it's settling in you. And remember, no, I've got this. I am resourceful. I am empowered forever. It is my birthright. It is in my DNA to be this style of human being, aware, awake, and self actualized. And fear has no place within the civilized mind. And I want you to remember that you are an amazing, brilliant human being. You are here to evolve and to elevate. Do not let anyone on this earth or off this planet tell you any differently. You are a product, and the same atoms and ions that are in the galaxies itself are in us. We are strong, we are capable, and we are resourceful. We conform to nothing unless it empowers us, elevates us, and actually has positive causation to the well-being of our global family. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I don't know if and who is listening and if there's any questions. I know we have a few minutes left. If I can answer anything to anyone. And in the future, if you do not have a question now, or maybe you might listen to this at a later date, again, please reach out to www.thescienceofempowerment.com. My personal cell phone is on there. I have readership and clientele all over the world. We discuss and we talk through your personal elevation. And I do not want you to be in fear of anything that you know is the proper course of what fear and the recalibration of it looks like for you. You are now forever resourceful. You are now forever empowered. You have the knowledge, new knowledge. Bring it into your mind. Find a place for it to seed into your mind brain matrix. Let it move through the biology of wellness into the cells. Take really good care of how you eat and exercise, because there's more brain cells in our gut than there are in our actual brain. So our gut environment is very important. Heal, evolve. You've got this. You really do. And I so much want to inspire and motivate and empower you to never take fear into your essence again. Thank you very much. I appreciate every one of you. I would love for you to reach out to me, purchase the download, purchase the book, have an empowerment session with me, and share this information in this podcast and everything that the WLC is creating. This is how we dissolve fear and we become empowered. Thank you very much. And I'll sign off if there are no questions. And Sukai, you are welcome. I'm so glad that you joined.